If you're like 99.9% of people, you go through cycles of motivation and demotivation throughout the day. You start the work you need to do, and then you get bored and you start doing unproductive things like video games or scrolling. And then you get a bit of motivation again to do a bit more of the work. And then the cycle keeps on repeating and repeating every single day. You already know that what you really need is consistency and not constantly changing emotions, deciding when to work and when not to work. But you're still not consistent. And that's because the people who tell you to be consistent don't even really know how to make you consistent. But I've cracked the code on how you can be motivated all day, every day, so that you are always excited to get the work done, whether it's something you're required to do or something you choose to do, like working towards a goal. If you want to get hard work done, you need to know this extremely important word: resistance. Resistance is the one thing that stops you from doing anything. And I'm going to teach you how to overcome it easily in the next couple of minutes. So what is resistance? Well, it's like an invisible wall standing between your current situation and your desired situation. So let's say your current situation is you stressed since you have to study for a ton of exams, and your desired situation is you who studied relentlessly and is completely confident and prepared for the exams. Of course, sitting down and studying is not too fun. That's resistance, that invisible wall. If you do the work anyways, even though it's not fun, then you've gone through the invisible wall and now you've reached your goal. And resistance has a ton of forms. Here are just a couple of the most prominent common ones. Instant gratification. You'd rather make your brain happier right now than later. Perfection. You don't have the perfect ideal conditions to work. Addiction. You're addicted to something, so you do that instead. Procrastination. You tell yourself that you'll do the work tomorrow. Justifying. You give yourself a justification to not do the work. And comfort. You're comfortable right now and doing the work makes you uncomfortable. These are just a few of the forms resistance takes. There are tens or even hundreds of other forms. Any reason at all why you're not doing the work is resistance and nothing else. To beat this wall of resistance, you need to go through pain. The wall will try to stop you, but if you go through pain, you'll go through the wall. The more pain you go through, your results will be directly better in the future. Obviously not like torture or hurting yourself or anything, but productive pain, which is usually mostly in your mind. When you sit down to do the work and you don't want to, your body probably isn't hurting physically, unless it's something like working out. It's all in the mind. And the first step to overcoming that wall is actually listening to me right now. You're becoming aware of this wall that's one purpose is to stop you from getting to your goal. That wall will put you through pain and will do whatever it can to stop you from getting past it. You just need to be aware of this, or else you'll just avoid pain like everyone else. If you want something, you have to give something. And what you're giving is your temporary happiness right now for your desired goal. You're paying for your goal with pain. Whether that's completing an assignment or running a marathon, this applies to everything. The greater the thing you want, the more pain you'll have to pay up. And the second step is identifying the primary forms of resistance you specifically face. So think of any time when you didn't want to do something. Now think about the reason why you didn't want to do that thing. Now repeat that for at least 9 more events when you felt resistance and write down what form resistance took in those situations. Now you may notice that some events had the same form of resistance. Those forms of resistance are your primary resistance forms, and you should focus on those mostly. Think of more events when you felt resistance until you can find overlaps. Resistance will take whichever form it has seen to be most effective on you, and it will do anything to stop you from going past it. And now once you have your primary resistance forms, it's time to move on to step 3. Which is to remind yourself as much as you can of these forms of resistance. Type out or write out all of your primary resistance forms, and then take a bunch of paper copies of it and put it wherever you can. Have a reminder on your desk as a sticky note or a piece of paper. Stick them around your room. Have it as your wallpaper. Remind yourself before you go to sleep. Remind yourself when you wake up. Just keep these forms of resistance in your mind as much as possible by reminding yourself over and over and over, so that the next time one of them appears, you'll just tell yourself, wait, this is just resistance. This invisible wall is just getting in my way so it can try and stop me from achieving X. It's trying its best to stop me, but if I just do the work anyways, I can get through it no problem. Remind yourself that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is resistance. Keep this in mind at all times because resistance is everywhere, applies to everything, and this mindset, along with knowing what your primary forms of resistance are, will let you get through so much more resistance than the average person who doesn't know about it. And as a result, every single solitary area of your life will be significantly better, and it'll only compound from there. And that's about all I had to say, and thank you so much for listening.